"Where you going?" I asked. She said a name. I nodded, pretending to know it, motioned for her to get in. She climbed in the back door. We set off further along the road through the forest, past blue-fenced graveyards and grey concrete memorials. "So what do you do?" I asked after a few minutes of silence, genuinely interested as to how a young woman could survive in this bleakness. She was working for the local government farm in some capacity I didn't understand. Could have been the manager or another puller. She smelled of damp grass. It wasn't unpleasant. She was friendly and interested in my journey. I felt the first stirring. I wanted to stick my dick in her mouth. "How much do you make a month?" I inquired. The reply was pitiful, about what we spend on a decent night out. There was no point number closing or inviting this chick for a coffee. I would never see her ever again. I suppressed what I wanted to say. We drove on chatting about life, but with the sun beginning to set and a young tanned woman in my car, my latent exploitative nature surfaced. "Would you like to earn some money?" I asked, making eye contact with her in my rearview mirror. The question asked before it had been fully rationalized. There was no reply. "We could find a quiet place and rest together for an hour," I continued. Silence. I drove on over the cracked road. The radio the only sound between us, myself feeling a mixture of disgust at my own seediness and excitement for asking and what possibilities hung in the air. We drove past a long lake surrounded by tall green grass with more radiation signs. I imagined f***ing her in it. "How much?" she asked eventually with a steady voice. I offered her what local currency I had in my wallet. A 100,000 ruble note. $6. Silence. I drove on, avoiding potholes and eye contact. Eventually she spoke. "Turn down here." And so I headed down a sandy track past the radiation warning signs towards the lake. And after a short time emptied a fortnight of frustration into her mouth and onto the irradiated ground. Afterwards I dropped her outside a shop called Simply Products in a crumbling concrete town on the edge of the irradiated forest. I drove on alone in silence and tried to find some deeper meaning in what I had just done and what it said about me as a man. After a few minutes I drew a blank. "It seems I'm a shallow motherfucker." I turned on the radio. A cheesy Russian pop song was playing. I turned it up loud, and as the sun set I headed for home and out of the region for the last time.